Welcome to the recap of session 14 of the Chicken D&D campaign. So our session starts with the party setting up and leaving on the next leg of their journey towards Battersbury. So this time on the travel, I did completely use and only use the campfire supplement that I kind of tested out with the session before. And somehow they managed to only succeed, including a critical success. And so that ended their journey with 4 boons off of the windfall table. They did have a little bit of a chat during their travel, maybe having figured out some stuff about the rifts, but I'm not sure if they have or not. Latruda brought up the fact that a ghost had crossed over, but then seemed to focus on some other stuff. And this might again be nudging that in a specific direction, and so I'm going to not talk about any more DM secrets here, because I do think it was during the recap that Chris figured a little something out. But like I said, even though it was a rainy journey, they still managed to get to the next settlement without any problems. But when they get there again is this just general feeling of badness. Upon closer inspection, they realize that all of the adults are tired. The kids are also tired, but they seem to have this underlying fear, which is shown in them, being tired, but also them like constantly darting their eyes around, looking at something that isn't there, or so they think. So their first order of business, knowing that they're trying to get to Battersbury, but they also really want to clear the road to try to make things a little safer, seeing how bad it was in Siltereth. They decide to go to the tavern. It's still pretty early in the day, so they walk into the tavern. The tavern keep is behind the bar, kind of just zoned out, being very tired, with their child sitting in the corner with some coloring supplies in front of them, but they're not really coloring. They're kind of just tired and scared looking. So they talk a little bit to the barkeep about what's going on. They end up talking to the child a little bit as well. Also, one of the boons from the table was that they got a level 1 spell scroll, which I decided was fairy fire, and we'll see why I decided on that in a little bit. But Harry decides to jot this down in his spell book so that he has access to it all the time instead of just the one time with the spell scroll. And I, as the DM, was very happy about this happening. But basically what they realize is that there is likely some sort of monster that is invisible for some reason that the kids are seeing and is scaring them. It turns out that most of the kids are no longer going to school, so they do think that there might be the source at the school. So Latruda was going to go check this out, ended up running into a family who was speaking their language, and so they stopped to talk. It turns out they were traveling through with a child, and basically the second they got into town, the child started being scared. And so this kind of clicks a little something in Latruda's head, that it might not be the school, and asks, where did you first see this monster? And she says, by the well. So now there's kind of 2 sources that Latruda wants to check out. So they go back to the tavern. Harry is done writing the spell into his spell book. And so Latruda decides to let the barkeeper sleep while they watch the bar for them. And Harry goes off to do some investigating, which is perfect because Harry's job back in the material plane of our world, our world, is as a private investigator. And so he goes off to check out the well, doesn't find anything around the well, goes to the school. There's only 5 kids in class, because most of the kids are staying home because they're terrified and tired. And so Harry talks to the secretary, asks a couple of questions, and then waits for lunchtime, which is not too far off. And so the kids come running out, the teacher comes out. Harry talks to the teacher a little bit, asks if there's been any missing kids, anything weird happening, and as far as she's aware, all of the kids are accounted for and nothing super weird has happened other than what the kids are telling them. And so he's like, all right, do you mind if I check out the school room? It's a one-room schoolhouse. It's a small hamlet rather than like a big city, so they don't really need a whole lot. And so he goes in and he reaches out with his arcane senses. Doesn't find anything particularly interesting inside the room, though there are some magical items. They're all educational, like maps that you can like ask them to show like specific parts of the world, stuff like that. And so he does feel a ping from outside, so he goes outside, and the place that the ping is occurring, it just has like a little group of children. So he walks up, he talks to the kids, he asks them some questions, and he asks, is there a monster here? They all point to the same spot. He asks, what does it look like? Because I can't see it. And each of them says something different, but he can't see it. And that doesn't really help him a whole lot. So he chooses to use Fairy Fire, his new spell. And it does work. The fairy fire goes off and it glows around to what looks like to him a little gremlin thing. It looks like it's like a little winged creature. And so he fireballs it and it disappears. The outline's gone. But also he goes over and like tries to find like an invisible corpse and doesn't feel anything. But he asks the kids, is it gone? And they say yes. And so he's kind of at a loss for what to look for next, and so goes back to let Latruda know what has happened. The next thing that they decide to check out is to check in with the local guard. That's the only other thing that they can think of with basically no leads at this point. So they go to the guardhouse and they talk to the person sitting behind the desk. They do want to talk to somebody more important, but she's able to answer their questions. Again, no current missing children, nothing super weird has happened recently. But she decides that it might be important that around a year ago, somebody did go missing. And so their next plan is for the next morning for one of the guards to take them out to the place where this person went missing. I'm sure we can all guess what's going to be out there, but we're going to find out in the next session. Because it's getting late, they decide to just head back, grab a room, but the last thing they do before they go to bed is they ask to check out the tavern keeper's kid's room. And so they go over there with him, and he points, there's some in the closet, there's one under the bed, and Harry uses Fairy Fire. Fairy Fire finds two of them in the closet, doesn't light anything else up. So Latruda basically just punches one in the face. It disappears. Harry tries to grapple one of them, and they have a very weak struggle. I believe the dice rolls were like a 3 and a 5, so we kind of laughed about that. But was unable to grapple it, and so I'm pretty sure it gets punched in the face as well and disappears. They ask the kid, are they all gone? And he says, no, there's still one under the bed. Obviously it just passed its dexterity saving throw. So Latruda lifts up the bed and just tries stomping on it. Does manage to do it, rolling with disadvantage. And the kid is so happy, and he now feels like he can sleep in that room, because all the monsters are gone. So he's happy. They head back to the tavern, and that's where the session ends. So the next session will pick up the next morning, and them heading off out to wherever this person went missing. Just poofed from existence, as we've seen time and time again. Thanks for watching the recap. Hope to see you for the live event. If you can't make it to that, it will show up here, and that I will be doing a recap. I know I've said this the last couple of recaps, but I do think that I'm going to get a highlight done, because I am doing this 1 week from when we did the session, rather than 2 days before the next session, so hopefully the editor gods and my body will allow me to do a highlight video like I had been doing. So keep your eyes posted for that, or actually rather, it should already be posted if I've done it.
Hey, thanks for checking out Chicka D&D. If you liked what you saw, click all the buttons down below. Subscribe, like, comment, you know the drill. Thank you again so much. See you next time. Bye.